Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I guess we're double streaming tonight because I've been banned from TikTok. Listen, guys, we have a global alert situation right now in the world. Like, you know, the big rock that we're flying through space on. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, everything's going wrong. So, first of all, I'm going to call it now, guys. If you live in the United Kingdom, you're not safe. That's the reality now, guys, okay? People need to start thinking about putting themselves on lockdown, not going out after dark, and really thinking about your own safety if you live in the United Kingdom. And of course, people will tell you, you know, oh, but actually, Sean, you've got more chance. Actually, Sean, you've got more chance of actually more people die of toaster electrical fires than actual migrant crime. Yeah, you know what, sweet cheeks? If there was a load of toasters that were killing people when we imported them into the country, guess what? Health and safety would say, those toasters, they keep killing people. Let's not bring them in anymore. Nobody would argue that case, would they, if it was a toaster? If it was a toaster that kept killing people, nobody would argue if health and safety said, well, actually, those toasters that come from Afghanistan, we're not going to bring them in because they keep going stabby, stabby, rammy, rammy, electric, electric. So we're not going to bring them in. We're just going to deal with that, and that's going to be over there. Oh, but what about my toast? My toast? Bullshit. Stop it. Let's apply our safe catch, guys, and let's carry on. So we have also got the situation with Israel and Gaza. Looks like that so didn't last long. Looks like I will get onto all these articles in a minute, guys. I will go in depth in these articles. Looks like Netanyahu's ordered, as I understand it, powerful strikes on Gaza. Now, this comes after the again, look, guys, I don't know what's true, what's not true, but it's claimed that Hamas have opened fire on IDF soldiers. I don't know if there's going to be any fatalities, but we will get onto that shortly. And also, Russia have ordered a new mobilization, which is a clear indication, for me anyway, that they are planning a greater war with the West. And when we start talking about these numbers, ladies and gentlemen, what have I been saying for the longest time? Yes, I have, good sir. I've been saying that this is a numbers game right now. And the Russians are winning because the Russians are taking ground. Listen, guys, don't listen to anybody else. They don't know what they're talking about. Don't listen to other people, mainstream media, generals, colonels. They know nothing. All right? I'm more qualified than all of those put together. You could put all of those in a room, right? Honestly, guys, this is what used to happen when I used to work for Boeing. We'd all get in a room. We'd have a little conflab, and I would give them the solution in about 10 seconds. Right, we've got a solution. We need X, Y, and Z. I would give them that solution in about 10 seconds. Then I start talking about aliens and, you know, interdimensional beings, and like it used to blow their minds. But anyway, guys, listen, it's all kicking off. Also, there was one other thing. Somebody tell me what the other thing I wanted to talk about was. I can't even remember, guys. Listen, we are going to begin. But firstly, I'm going to give you guys something that Patrick Christie posted at 7. Oh, no, that's my time. Something that Patrick Christie posted earlier on today. So you know how we've got this migrant this Afghan migrant who's gone stabby, stabby? This is from Patrick Christie's post now, guys. I am sloping my shoulders. I don't know. I don't know how much credibility is in, but I'm just saying this now, guys. Okay, Patrick Christie, and he usually gets his information, and he's a mainstream media. I like Patrick Christie. He's a mainstream media outlet, and he's saying, I quote, with an alarm bell. Apparently, so he's sloping shoulders in himself. The Afghan national who appeared to have killed a man and stabbed 2 others in Uxbridge is not a small boat migrant. So, was he one of those who helped our armed forces in Afghanistan? Look, guys, I'll be quite clear with you. The amount of Afghans that helped the armed forces in Afghanistan is very small. It's certainly not 20,000. Certainly not 20,000. The amount of those, do you know what? I'm on YouTube now, guys. I'm on YouTube, so I can talk about it. And of those that I've dealt with, I wouldn't trust a lot of them. I would not trust a lot of them. I've done a lot of training with the Afghan army, guys, like more than most. Yeah, more than most. Yeah, definitely more than most. How much training have you guys done with the Afghan army? So we used to train the, I'm not going to tell you the unit that we used to train in Afghanistan. Incidentally, that unit we used to train, that was the only unit that that was fighting back when the Taliban took over. But anyway, so we used to train the Afghan army when I was in the military. And again, you know, very difficult people to train. Very, very difficult, you know, very difficult to get them to do simple orders. Very difficult to get them to, you know, there was this one incident. Sorry, guys, let me get everything. Let me get everything out, and then we'll come back. We'll do the chit chat afterwards. So, right, ladies and gentlemen, we have got the situation. I'm gonna go with. Where is it? That one? Not that one. That one. Okay, so GB News are confirming the police have confirmed that the suspect arrested for the triple stabbing in Uxbridge, Hillington, is an Afghan national. That's what they're saying, guys. I'll give you guys a little bit of speculation. I told you guys what Patrick Christie has talked about. Look, can you imagine? Look, ladies and gentlemen, right now, you are not safe on the streets. That's the reality. I don't care what you say. Oh, but Sean, bullshit. You're not safe. Nobody's safe. As I understand it, this was like was this a 14-year-old boy walking his dog or something? It was ridiculous. So you are not safe, guys. If you live in the United Kingdom right now, you are not safe. And you really need to start thinking about having family rules whereby everybody's in the house by, I mean, the clocks have gone back now, so like everybody's in the house by, I don't know, 8 o'clock or something. And you just say to the kids, look, we are not living in normal times. There's some crazy shit happening. Look, guys, just imagine this. Imagine this. Imagine the United Kingdom, 1938. The United Kingdom, 1938. Imagine if we started imagine if we started bringing lots of German soldiers into our country. Can you imagine that? And we are breaking our backs to give them hotels, to give them 3 meals a day. And they're telling us quite clear, yeah, we're not here to take part, we're here to take over. We are coming here to take over your country. And we're going, oh, yes, of course. Yes, of course. Keep taking my money. Keep taking my money. Keep taking my money. Can you imagine that? And, you know, and the Germans are saying, yeah. We've managed to saturate the United Kingdom with a million soldiers already. We'll just keep going until they stop it, and then as soon as they stop it, we'll turn the tap. Also, with the immigration in the United Kingdom, guys, look, listen, guys, this is why you guys need to like, comment, subscribe, and share my stuff. How many times have I said? I'm going to say I was talking about this maybe 6-9 months ago, and I was asking the question: do we think foreign criminals, potentially from Afghanistan, potentially from Somalia, potentially from Iraq, potentially from Syria, potentially from South Sudan, potentially from Eritrea, do we think those criminals, if they commit a crime, they go, oh, right, well, I have done that crime. Look how quick I have to get on here, guys. My jumper's all over the place. Or do you think they say, is this inside out? No, that's not what they said. Do you think they say, well, hang on a minute, I could do my time in this country, in this horrible prison cell, or I could just chuck my passport, come over to the United Kingdom and have a good swizzle. Ladies and gentlemen, it's harder to get into a nightclub in the United Kingdom than it is to get in the country. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you live in the United Kingdom, you just have to laugh about the situation. So look, guys, let me talk about this, because the mainstream media are now to investigation by it's an investigation by The Sun. So The Sun investigates a surge of migrant fugitives. So you guys can go and check this out yourselves. This is on The Sun, but I'm going to give you guys this article from Talk TV. So this is what they're saying. Murderers are coming into this country on dinghies when they shouldn't be. No shit, Sherlock. Former Met detective Peter Blexley expresses his fury as charity bankrolled by the government uses 135 Jesus Christ, it gets worse, uses 135 million of taxpayers' cash to put a positive spin on migration in schools. Can you imagine it, ladies and gentlemen? Imagine this, right? I mean, guys, can anybody help me out? I need somebody to help me out with this. I want to do a video with, you know, that Jet 2 music behind me, and I want to do a video saying, are you a murderer? Have you committed murder in your country of origin? Are you worried about the prison conditions in your country? Are you worried about having to give up your freedoms? Well, don't worry. Come to the United Kingdom. I want to do that, guys, with the Jet 2 holiday behind me, because right now it is absolutely phenomenal. I'll keep saying this, ladies and gentlemen. You are not safe. Not safe if you live in the United Kingdom, guys. You really are not. Also, we have got Russia. Russia has a new mobilization law, which is, as far as I'm concerned anyway, which is another sign of a bigger war with NATO. And remember, when we talk about a war with NATO, we are talking about NATO light, so NATO minus the United States. And look, guys, I'll be quite clear. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to say something. In 6, 9, 12 months' time, the mainstream media are going to start to say what I've been saying. It's not a win. Right now, guys, we need conscripts. We need conscripts. The Russians are using conscripts. We need to use conscripts. It's not a battle we can win, guys. It's not, without conscripts, it's not a battle we can win. And by conscripts, I mean absolute cannon fodder. Absolute cannon fodder. And it sounds dark, but you know what's darker? Losing. And I don't lose. Raven don't lose, guys. Whether it's aliens, Russians, whatever. I don't like to lose. Right, let's get some chat, guys, and then we will we will go through each one of those conversation topics. And I honestly, guys, I don't think we're going to have time. I don't think we're going to have time to fit all this in. But you know what? It's not school night tomorrow because the kids are off school. So maybe we do. Let me just keep checking my phone because I've... Hang on, I may have an update from Ukraine. Hang on, let me just open this up. Sorry, guys, I'm still sorting worksheet out. What time is it? I don't even know what time it is. We are still sorting worksheet out. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to come on to the chat. I only have one chat to do this evening. 2 chats, actually, YouTube and X. So, guys, listen, I have been banned on... I'm banned on TikTok. I'm banned on TikTok. That's how I roll now. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And in doing so, I'm banned on TikTok. So can you guys do me a real big favor? Can you share my shit on your socials, please? Can you share my stuff on your socials? Really helps me out, guys. And because the more people, like, right, guys, okay, have you started to see that good people are starting to emerge? You've seen it, right? I know you have, because I have. Good people are starting to emerge. And in the face of evil, which is what we're facing, guys. If you trace this back, like I'm not going to go transdimensional on you guys right now. I'll say that for another live stream. But if you trace this back far enough, you get to an evil. And the only thing, I promise you guys, I've seen this. The only thing that evil needs to succeed is that good men do nothing. I mean, look, guys, come on. We saw Tulsi Gabbard the other day talk about... So we are seeing good people emerge. People who are standing up now and saying, nah, this is bullshit. Nah, I'm calling this out. This is absolute bullshit. And they're putting themselves above and they're supporting each other. It's fantastic to see, guys. You know, it is fantastic to see. So the more people... And then because they're calling things out, those people who may not be calling out, they're going to stand up and they say, hey, do you know what? This is bullshit. Yeah, I'm calling this out as well. And that will empower other people to call this bullshit out. So guys, please, I'm not saying please. Raven, I don't say please. Make sure you share my shit, guys, because ultimately, we need more good people to emerge, because right now we are facing a darkness like the world has never seen before. And it is coming. It's coming. It's inevitable. When that darkness, we can either come out of that darkness and move into broad, sunlit uplands, Churchill's speech, the finest hour, or we can move into a dark, protracted, what did he say? A dark, protracted scientific world where we've got all sorts of crazy shit happening. And I want to go to the broad sunlit uplands, guys. I really do. I want to go broad sunlit uplands. I want to go into space. I want to have a colony on Mars. I want to have a colony on the moon. I want to have a floating city around Venus. I want to have solar panels around the sun. I do. But ladies and gentlemen, let me get the chat, because I keep saying that. Right, where do I go, guys? Where do I go? Googleino on what a fantastic picture. Googleino on YouTube is saying Russia calls French plans to send soldiers to Ukraine alarming. So you've got to understand, guys. You've got to understand the how the Russian media will be spinning this. And again, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Team UK. I will always be Team GB, whether I live in the United Kingdom or not. We may have to leave the United Kingdom as refugees or whatever. But you've got to understand how other mainstream media will be spinning this. So if you live in Moscow, well, Russia, I guess, if you live in Russia, they will have state media saying, yes, French are planning, and they will be pumping that through. They'll be pumping that propaganda through. And like, the reality is we're at a stage now, when you're playing chess. I like to play chess as well. I don't know if I showed you guys, I'm on Grandmaster. I'm a chess Grandmaster. I don't know what that means. When you're playing chess, every chess game, you get to a scenario, you get to a situation where everything's locked in, and you're just like, we're just going to have to go for it. We are just going to have to go for it. We're just going to, hang on a minute. I have to wipe the camera. Give me a second, guys. It looks like the camera's bad. Did that make anything any better, guys? Did that make anything any better? So when you're playing chess, you've got your pieces. You might have lost a few pawns. Maybe if you're shit, you might have lost a bishop or a rook. But both of you are moving forwards, and that piece is covering that piece, and that piece is going to take that piece, and you've got his queen in check, because if he moves it, and then you've got your bishop, and like, you don't know if he's seeing your bishop because it's covering a few things, and you can still see it if he takes that piece. And at some point in that chess game, everything just goes. Everything goes real quick. Boom, he's taken that. Boom, I've taken that. And that's where we are right now, guys. The chess pieces are mobilizing. Emma is saying, oh, okay. Okay, I think, okay, guys, you guys are talking among yourselves. James is saying, I've heard 10,000 Ukrainian soldiers surrounded, being told to surrender or get wiped out, allegedly. So I got a message from my friend earlier on today saying that the Russians are claiming that they've... hang on. I got a message from the Russians. Oh God, hang on. Hang on, sorry guys. Sorry guys, I'm trying. Sorry. Hang on. Sorry. So yeah, I just got a message earlier from, that was him then. I got a message from my friend earlier, and should I phone him? Should I phone him now? I might phone him actually. So I got a message earlier from my friend, and he was saying that the Russians are claiming that they have taken Pokrovsk, which is what I believe you're referring to. But he says it's bullshit. The Russians have not taken Pokrovsk. But what it does show, I just had a look on the map, and the Russians are making ground every day. So all this mainstream media is like, it's like, can you imagine a fight between like what would be the like most one-sided fight? Like me versus what's that guy's name? I forgot his name. He's that insignificant. You know the guy. What's his name? The guy who I want to. He's only about this big. I saw him next to Bob Villain. So can you imagine, right, a fight between me and Bob Villain, and I'm just like winning this guy. I'm like totally winning this guy. I'm like doing cartwheel kicks, and I'm doing all sorts of like wild shit because I'm feeling so confident. And the commentators are saying, Bob Villain's got him on the post. Bob Villain's winning. He's definitely winning that. And he's blatantly not. That's kind of like we are right now, guys. Look, ground. If you get anybody who knows anyone from the army, they will always say the ground dictates your movements. And the ground is key. So if you guys want to look, in fact, I'll do it in a little bit actually once we finish this. If you guys want to look at Deep State map, that's the one I use. Literally, watch how much ground the Russians take per day. It's only a little bit. It is, guys. It's only a little bit every day, but it adds up. It's that constant push, that constant drive, that constant move forwards. Yes, of course, the Ukrainians might have a little bit of a success and take a tiny little bit back, and then they're pushed, they're pushed back out. But ultimately, guys, this is a war about the ground, and the Ukrainians are losing ground daily. That is the fact. That is the reality. Linda Clark, hang on. Linda Clark is saying, I've got a very big dog. He took me for a flying lesson and broke my hip. Oh, no, Linda. Oh, no, Linda. I hope you're okay, Linda, with your... what kind of dog is it, Linda, may I ask? Sarah keeps saying that we should get a Malinois pup. And I'm like, listen, you have to be a real man to get a Malinois. You really... We used to have Malinois in the military, and those animals are wild. They're like Ferraris. And you have to be a real man to be able to train, discipline, and keep a Malinois. And it's not something you take lightly. So I said to Sarah, look, Sarah, with me being me, I think we need 4 Malinois. Right, guys, I'm just jumping to the bottom because there's so many comments. Michael Stephen, hello, Michael Stephen. He's saying, as we were told we could not travel, all right, the Tories allowed the dinghies to up the ante. The hotels began in earnest. The invasion began as many got jabbed with mRNA, migrants not jabbed. Do you know what? That's something do you know what, Michael? That's something I've never even considered, actually. You know what, Michael, you've called me on 6. I don't look, guys. When I get these questions and comments, I just react to them. So I don't know if that is actually the case that migrants, when they were coming over, did not get jabbed. I don't know if that's the case. I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying I don't know. But yes, absolutely. Wow, that is wild. You know what? And I'm thinking about it now. Yes, when they were coming. So yeah, that was the case, wasn't it? So like, you wasn't allowed in the country unless you'd been vaccinated, unless you came on a little boat and then they just let anyone in. From now, he's saying, in October 2025, British forces tested the Falkland Islands air defences in a major exercise called Cup Shield. Well, Cup would be, no, that wouldn't. Cup Shield. The exercise, which also involved training on the ground and at sea. look, guys, the Falklands, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It is going to happen. There's no denying it. You know, the Argentinians will take another crack at the Falklands. Like, why wouldn't you take another? Like, why wouldn't you take another crack at the Falklands? It makes no sense not to do that. I would, if I was Millie, and I like Millie, and I respect him, and I understand he has to take another crack at the Falklands, and I'm not holding it against him. It's just war, guys. You know, it's nothing personal. Just a good little bit of war. And I think people take, you know, when you're looking at global conflicts, this guy has to do it. He absolutely has to take a crack at the Falklands. Silly is saying, I think you Brits should ask for asylum in the Middle East. Dubai is nice. Do you know what's really weird, Silly? Like, I was talking to my friend the other day, and I was saying, mate, how much safer do you feel in Dubai? Like, look, guys, I'll be quite honest with you. I don't like Dubai. But it's funny, actually, Silly mentions this. So I can remember, like, maybe 2 days ago or something, having this conversation, but also being in Dubai and walking around the streets of Dubai at night and not feeling scared. So what happens? What happens when these people come to the United Kingdom? Oh, God, not more. Donna is saying NATO allies shoot down unidentified drone over US barracks in Estonia. Right, right, guys, listen, there's so much stuff happening. Templar Matt is saying, no, sorry, Dubai isn't Christian. It's not, but you feel safe there. You do, guys. There's no denying it. You feel safe in Dubai. You absolutely feel safe in Dubai. Safer, should I say. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to... so, listen, guys, let me just listen. There's some harmless banter here. So, Templar Matt said... I'm not going to Dubai. It's not Christian. And Silicon Valley is saying neither is Europe. Hang on, I'm getting that down. Right, guys, listen. I'm going to come back onto this, and we're going to talk. We're going to jump over to Israel right now. We're going to jump over to Israel, Gaza, and I'm going to give you guys this headline. I'm reading this from Sky News. So look, guys, I'm reading this from the Sky News. If anybody's got information that's out there or has happened more recently, let me know, guys. Okay. Blasts heard after Benjamin Netanyahu ordered Israeli military to carry out powerful strikes against Gaza. Explosions have been reported in Gaza City after Israel launched a military operation over a claimed ceasefire violation. I'm just looking at the pictures here, guys. There's nothing left. There really is nothing left. Destruction. This looks to me like I was in Mosul in northern Iraq in like maybe 2018, 2019, round about then. Mosul had just been annihilated, and that's what I'm looking at now, just concrete and rebar just all bent into weird shapes. Blasts have been heard in Gaza after Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered his military to carry out a powerful strike. Has Benjamin Netanyahu been watching my videos as well? Really? Do we have Trump, Elon Musk, Alex Jones, and now Benjamin Netanyahu watching my videos? Because I like that word, guys. I like using the word powerful. To carry out powerful airstrikes. Witnesses reported the sound of explosions and tanks firing in Gaza, Gaza City, and Deir Bala. I may be pronouncing. I apologize. So, reporter in Deir al-Bala, sorry, had tanks firing from an area controlled by the Israeli army. And in Gaza City, 2 health officials reported strikes, including near the Shahifa hospital. At least 2 people were killed and 4 others wounded by a strike on a neighboring South Gazan city, according to Gaza's civil defense. The announcement of strikes came shortly after Israel said that Hamas opened fire on its forces in southern Gaza on Tuesday. Hamas has denied involvement in the attack in the city of Rafah. The militant Palestinian group also said in a statement that it remained committed to the US-backed ceasefire deal. So what I'm reading here between the lines is, first of all, if you you've got to understand the Middle East, and to understand the Middle East is to not understand the Middle East. And just when you're trying to contemplate the Middle East, right? When you're trying to contemplate the Middle East, I'll give you this anecdote right now, and this is real. When I used to live in Baghdad, was it Baghdad? Yeah. When I used to live in Baghdad, we had a villa on Al-Kindi Street, and you guys want to Google where that is, Al-Kindi Street. It's not in the green zone, it's just outside. So we had a villa on Al-Kindi Street. When the guys downstairs were taking a shower, steam would come out of my plug socket. Now, that's just normal. Like, that shit's just normal in the Middle East, guys. So you've got to, when you try and think, what living in the Middle East like, you just got to think crazy shit happens, okay? So what I'm going to speculate here, guys, this is my own speculation, analysis, and opinion. I'm going to say that Hamas are not in control. I'm going to say Hamas is fractured. I'm going to say there are splinter groups to Hamas, and whoever's beating the drum for Hamas, saying we stick to the ceasefire, they don't have the authority to the underling captains, for example. And those captains are like, no, we're going to fight forever. No, death to the. I'm not going to say what I'm going to say because I'll probably get the video banned. But they will be calling for. They're going to want to fight on. That's what I think is happening here, guys. And of course, if you look, guys, I'm not saying this has happened. I'm reading from this article here. If you break a ceasefire, you know what, guys, I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to say, if you want to play big boy games, you get big boy prizes. That's all I'm going to say there, guys. Okay. If the ceasefire is violated, then it's violated. And I'm sure there were terms and conditions, like in any contract, where if you violate the contract, there's a penalty to pay. But it does look like the ceasefire is over. And I've said this quite a few times, guys. It does look like the ceasefire is over. At what point are we just going to accept that the ceasefire is over and it's done? A statement from the Prime Minister's office said, following the security consultations, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu instructed the military echelon to carry out powerful strikes. He's definitely been what? Guys, what do we think? Do we think Netanyahu's... BB, are you watching? Is BB watching? Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu instructed the military echelon to carry out powerful strikes in the Gaza Strip immediately. Look, guys, I will say this, keep saying it. Avoid wars at all costs, and certainly don't get yourself into a war you don't think you can win. That's ridiculous, But if you get yourself into a war, you've got to win it at all costs. I'm talking for both sides now. So, Hamas need to do what they feel they need to do, if they need to do anything to win this war. And of course, the Israelis need to do whatever they feel necessary to win this war. But look, guys, let's just consider that the situation in the Middle East, the situation in Gaza, is nowhere near the size, scale, and scope of what's happening in Europe. Gaza's only a tiny, tiny, tiny little sliver, guys, okay? Yes, of course, you've got regional players. You've got Iran. You've got Yemen. You've got Lebanon. You've got, the other regional allies Qatar, who may not be as overtly aggressive, but they're still funding this. Right, let me see if there's any updates on that. No, it doesn't look like there's any updates on that. So that looks like where that situation is right now. That looks like where that situation is now. Also, ladies and gentlemen, the Russian mobilization. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know I've said there's going to be these diversions. the Americans and the Israelis, they're going to go into the Middle East. They're going to do their thing in the Middle East with like tanks, bombs, planes, tanks, maybe not so many tanks, plenty of drones, automobiles and all that stuff. And then the Europeans, how many times have I said these guys would have to pull our big boy pants on and deal with this threat or not? Totally up to the politicians. I would always say, better to be the victor than the loser. In all circumstances, guys, I will say it's better to be the victor than to be the loser. Some of you, some of the liberals, some of the real liberals, if any of the liberals are watching, you guys maybe saying, well, no, it's not about winning or losing. It's about taking part. Bullshit. Everything's about winning, guys, and don't listen to anybody else. If somebody comes out, right? If you listen to somebody and they tell you life's not about winning, they're probably gay. Don't listen to them, all right? That's the reality, all right? They probably kiss men while they're sober. And if you kiss men in the military while you're drunk, I'm just going to say, I'm just going to plead the fifth on that. So Russia's new mobilized. This is an article now from the Kiev Post, guys, and it is biased. Yes, but we're going with the Kiev Post. Russia's new mobilization law, yet another sign the Kremlin is preparing for war with NATO. Analysts say. This was an article released on the 29th of July by the Kiev Post. Right, guys, I'm going to get some. Comments first. Michael is saying Israel knew. Hang on, a secular PLO. What does PLO? I don't know what PLO means. A PLO? Can somebody help me what PLO means? Palestine Liberation. No, it's PLA. Whatever. I was reading the comment. Would likely win some political aims, so they gave Hamas a helping hand. They created a golem of sorts and set it to invade to justify the current Israeli lust for land. I don't know if that's the case. Maybe it is. My take on this, my take on what's happening in Gaza is nothing as fancy as that. I think it all comes down to money and trade. I do, guys. I think it all comes down to money and trade. So, Michael, maybe there's a little bit of kernel of truth in both. I don't know. My take on this is people don't want to do these missions where they don't come back. People don't want to do one-way missions when they're getting paid. They don't want to do these things when they're getting paid. Now, there was something proposed, and it was due to be ratified. There was a trade route planned by Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel. Again, guys, look, when I do these videos, a lot of it is off the top of my head. There was a trade route planned. I think it was called East-West trade route, or it might have been something. Anyway, but it's definitely a trade route, and it was proposed. And all the stakeholders had been involved, and it was basically going to be a trade route from the Persian Gulf or the Persian Gulf, from the Persian Gulf through Saudi Arabia, through Jordan, through Israel to the Mediterranean. Now, what that would have done, it would have cut out Iran. Iran would have had no influence, like zero influence. Like Keir Starmer on the British public. Sorry, guys. So Iran would have had no influence in that context. Why? Well, Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the Strait of Hormuz is a tiny little sliver. I think it's like 60 kilometers or something. And that Strait of Hormuz, 20% of the world's oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. So in that context, if Iran decided to close that Strait of Hormuz down and said, listen, nobody's getting their oil out, the Saudi Arabians would have just said, about that, just come on through our trade route. And that would have been an alternate trade route. Maybe it would have been more efficient. I don't know. Maybe it would have been just as, it doesn't matter, but it was an alternate trade route for goods and oil, basically. Through Saudi Arabia, through Jordan, through Israel to the Mediterranean. Now, by de facto, by proximity, Gaza's strategic location on the Mediterranean, that would have given them funds, that would have given them finances, because when people are coming over and they want shipped through Israel, they may have stuff that Israel doesn't want to ship through. So guess what? The Gazans would have been able to ship that. And once people start making money, they're not dependent on Israel. Sorry, they're not dependent on Iran for their finances. Guess what? Iran loses influence there as well. That's why I think, and that's my opinion, guys. You know, everybody's welcome to their own opinion. You know, that's why I think this attack happened on the 7th of October. That's my take, guys. You know, you're welcome to have your own. Hang on. The Willow Fairy, hello, the Willow Fairy, is saying, grow your food and try to stay organic. Wholemeal flour, no bother in your dairy. Well, thank you, Willow Fairy, for that. Listen, I will be honest, you know, we tried to grow food last year. It was an absolute disaster. We tried to grow tomatoes. Absolute disaster. Probably the worst disaster. Like, I was embarrassed. Like, they didn't give any tomatoes. I don't know if they were gay tomato plants or something, but they did not give any little tomatoes. None. So I was going to do a video on it, but it was just too embarrassing. Googleino is saying Venezuela's creaking military prepares for US strikes. Right, guys, listen, I'm going to talk about this article here. So we have got now, you know, we've got these diversions. You can see it. The United Kingdom taking the lead in Europe, taking the lead in Ukraine against the Russians. The United, regardless what Trump says, the United States and Israel, you know, I think Israel is going to be the rubber stamp, really. I don't see what the Israelis can bring to bear. They have a small... They do, guys. The Israelis have a small military. Their long range, they don't have long range strike capacity. They just don't have it, guys. They don't have amphibious landing craft. They don't have air to air refueling in the capacity that you would need for a prolonged campaign. So, you know, whereas Israel can be very potent in its region, protecting its borders, which is what a military should do. When we look at long-range projection and force projection, the Israeli military doesn't have they don't have the machinery, guys. So let me talk about Russia's new mobilization law. Now, I'm going to be reading this from an article from the Kiev Post. So, increased spending on defense and new Russian conscription laws are signs of the Kremlin's increasing Kremlin aggressive. I forgot to read. Kremlin's increasingly aggressive posture and preparations for future conflict with Europe, according to analysts. As Ukraine and its Western allies continue to sound the alarm about Moscow's long-term intentions, Russian lawmakers introduced a bill that would allow year-round conscription. If passed, the new system would replace the traditional biannual draft, enabling continuous replenishment of military personnel. Can you imagine that? Guys, look, everyone, right, guys, when we're talking about this situation in Ukraine, if they're saying anything different to me, they're wrong. All your colonels, your generals, you know, these half-baked, whatever rank they are, what they're doing is they're trying to compare apples and oranges. Yes, they are two fruit, roughly the same size, but they are no. When you're comparing Western military versus a conscript army, yes, on paper, the Western military will win initially, but over time, it will not win. And that's what we're seeing right now, guys. And that's what we're seeing this build up. So the development comes after recent Ukrainian warnings of an increase in Russian rearmament spending and the creation last year of a new military district, which experts say are the potential preparations for a future war outside of Ukraine. All these components, new military districts, changes in mobilization and defense spending, are suggesting that Russia is preparing for a protracted war, not just in Ukraine, but also against NATO. Katriana, that's how we say it, guys. It's not Katrina, it's Katriana Sepmenko, Russian deputy team lead and analyst at the Institution for the Study of War, told the Kiev Independent. Russia actively has two armies. Yes, this is what I've been saying for such a long time, guys, okay? They have... Here we are, guys. You know when I say things and you read them, what you've been saying, you know, when you like what you know, when you're saying, look, guys, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming, and then somebody else says it, you're like, yeah, that's what I've been saying. So Russia effectively has two armies, a conscript army and a contract army. Russia's conscript army is the country's standing armed forces that are required to defend Russia itself. To maintain this force, the Kremlin currently conducts conscription twice a year, in spring or autumn for us Brits, requiring eligible men to serve for 1 year. But conscripts by law are not allowed to be sent abroad to fight foreign countries. Oh, that's where the article ends. That's a bit weird. So what we can see there, guys, is I've got a paywall. Hang on. Well, this is not a paywall. I'll do it later. Hang on. All right, okay. But conscripts by law are not allowed to be sent abroad to fight wars in foreign countries. Instead, the Kremlin has simply paid people to fight in Ukraine, offering huge sign-up bonuses to encourage people to volunteer and sign contracts, a method which up to now has managed to replenish the huge losses the army has incurred, but which many experts say is unsustainable. Yes, of course it's unsustainable, but how long is it sustainable for? You know, like the earth is not sustainable. The sun is not sustainable. I would say that it's sustainable. They can sustain that longer than NATO can fight them. Throughout the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Putin has steered clear of a full mobilization, conscious of the domestic backlash it would create. But the Kremlin appears to be now taking at least partial steps toward this. Russia, over the past couple of years, has been dedicating a lot of resources and time to changing its mobilization system, digitalizing it. Digital ID. Can you look, guys? It's here. So what they're doing is they're digitalizing their mobilization system. Look, you know when we think, like, you know how you guys, like some people, are, oh, Russia, we need to move to Russia. They're doing exactly the same, guys. The Russians are bringing CBDCs in. The Russians are bringing digital IDs in. And if you want to know what things could be like in the United Kingdom, looks like the Russians have digital ID and they're just sending people text messages. Right, you're in the you're conscripted now. Turn up at the army office or whatever and get your guns. So look, guys, from this article, what we can take is Russia is mobilizing lots of people. I was reading an article. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I might be slightly off on this size, but I think Russia's the conscription that they're doing now, I think the aim of that is to get 100 and I think it's 138,000 soldiers. So that's what this fall or autumn, the Russians are conscripting an extra 138,000 soldiers. Now, put that into context. The British military is like 74,000. So the Russians, just lads, This November, let's just get an extra few lads. How many? About double the British military. Okay, British Army. It's an absolute numbers game. I get it. You know, I get everybody's patriotism. I get everybody's understanding, you know. Yeah, I'd put 5 Brits against, you know, I'd put 5 Russians against 1 Brit. That's not how it works, guys. Okay, that's not how artillery works. That is definitely not how artillery works. It's not how tanks work. You know, it's not how it's not how the military works. Because yes, all right. Well, you know what? Let's go with those odds. Let's go with those odds. I would put 5 Russians against 1 Brit. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So for every 1 Brit is lost, 5 Russians are lost. Okay. How long does it take to train one of those British soldiers? How long does it take to train a conscript? The numbers don't add up, guys. The numbers don't add up. It's not a W. It's not a W for it is not a W for NATO. Right, guys. Let me get some more comments. Michael is saying China is the world leader. No, then sorry. China is the world leader in. Sorry. I do this thing, guys. I do this thing where I see some words and I think I know what it means, but I don't. Michael Stephen is saying China is the world leader in digital social credit score. Every child and adult in the UK already has this score. This power will not be able to be resisted. Total control of the population. Yeah, you know, and I actually agree with that. You know, people are saying, oh, just don't do it. That's fine. You know, don't do it. Over what time period? You know, over what time period? Kids already have this now. You know, if you've got a child and they go to school, they already have to do, most children anyway, they already have to do the fingerprint thing to eat their dinner. You know, so they've got social credit scoring already. Yeah. So sorry, guys. James is saying 138,000. They've got 200,000 now sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. They are gearing up for a war with NATO, surely. Yeah. So when I do these things, guys, sometimes I get a lot of these numbers off the top of my head. So James is giving me the right numbers there. So Russia is conscripting right now. They're getting an extra 138,000 soldiers. Can you imagine that number, guys? Think about that number. That is a lot. Oh, 4Paws here is contradicting what I was saying earlier. 4Paws, where is that from? Hang on, guys. Let me get this up on the mainstream. So for those of you guys who were watching earlier on the live stream, I was repeating a post that Patrick Christie did earlier on today. Patrick Christie said, the guys, look, listen, guys, I will say this again. You're not safe. If you live in the United Kingdom right now, you're not safe. Get all your family. I mean, this happened in the morning as well, was it the morning? It wasn't dark. That's what I'm saying when this Afghan came and went stabby. Unbelievable. Think about the family. Think about that family of that kid who was stabbed. What, he was walking his dog? Going out, walking your dog? Yeah, stabby. Why? Oh, you had a dog. It's haram. Ridiculous. So 4Paws is saying the Afghan who murdered a man in Uxbridge was a legal migrant, arrived in the back of a lorry in 2005. 2005. Okay, I think that means 2020. Okay, arrived in the back of a lorry in 2020. 5 years he's been here, and then he exploded and killed someone. These men will never be safe here. Guys, I agree. We're not safe. You are not safe. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, you are not safe. Just like, I see it all the time. You know. Like, people, like, going out and taking unnecessary risks. I've seen these things at the very worst. You know, and like I always think to myself, okay, so you want to go and walk your dog in that park? Yeah. Why? Well, I've always walked my dog in that park. Okay. Look at those. Look at that group of men over there. What do you think about them? I'm not bothered, me. I'll tell them to fuck off. You're going to get stabbed in the neck. Doesn't matter what you say to them. You go over there with an attitude, you're going to get stabbed. So be my guest. Be my guest. Go fill the Darwin Awards in, guys. You know, like, and this is why I keep saying, you know, there's going to be a mass exodus to Antarctica. Absolute mass exodus to Antarctica. Right, so 4 pause. I am going to Google this real quick. I'm not disputing anything you're saying. I'm just saying I want to all right, okay, I've got it. 3 hours ago. Okay, I'm just going to read this. Afghan arrested over fatal stabbing of a dog walker. I know what... Afghan arrested over fatal stabbing of a dog walker came to the UK illegally. Yeah, of course. Police described the incident in which a 14-year-old boy was wounded. So who's actually been like murdered that killed that? As a shocking, senseless act of violence. That didn't say he came. Hang on, I'm just trying to find an article where it says he came in. Right, Daily Express. Yeah, got it. Sorry, guys. I do apologize. So this is an article from the Daily Express, guys. So 4 pause. I'm not disputing what you're saying. It's just when I'm doing these live shows, I have to be very careful about what I'm saying. So the Daily Express are reporting Uxbridge stabbing suspect is Afghan migrant who arrived in the UK in the back of a lorry. The suspect was tasered by the police, was not living in Home Office accommodation. So where was he living? That's a question. The Afghan national allegedly arrested over a triple stabbing in Uxbridge was granted asylum after arriving in the back of a lorry, the Daily Express understands. So we're getting conflicting reports here, guys. We're getting one article that says he's here illegally. We're getting this article that says he was granted asylum. So what better way to show your appreciation? You know, don't worry. We got you. We're going to protect you. Ah! The 22-year-old suspect, so he was 17 when he came here. The 22-year-old suspect was tasered and arrested after a man was stabbed to death and 2 other people, including a 14-year-old child, were injured in the incident. The suspect arrived in the UK as an unaccompanied asylum seeker child. Okay, so he's probably, let's be honest, guys, he's probably about 46. Can you remember when all those Afghan migrants came here, guys? Can you remember? Was it Afghan? I can't remember where it was. Can you remember when all these migrants turned up and they had like stubble and they were saying they were 10? Can you remember that? It was like, oh yes, these guys have just had a hard war. And you're like, nah, mate, these guys are like 32. Unaccompanied asylum seeking child. How does that, like, where's the parents? It's ridiculous. It's fucking retarded. Officials confirmed that the suspect does not live in an asylum hotel or any other form of Home Office accommodation. So where is he living? A 49-year-old dog walker died after being treated at the scene, while another man aged 45 suffered life-changing injuries. The 14-year-old boy's injuries were not life-threatening nor life-changing. Detectives are... It's okay then. It's okay. And 3 victims, and the attack is not being treated as terrorism. And it's not terrorism. When, like, You know when it kicks off, guys? You know when it really kicks off? And I mean when it kicks off. You know all these people, you know how I just said then? Like earlier on, I just said there are good people emerging. And the more good people emerge, the more good people will emerge because more people will feel more confident and they will emerge and they will band together. You know when this kicks off and these migrants start kicking off and the migrants and the Muslim community and, you know, honestly, guys, if you've ever seen a mob, I've seen a mob. If you've ever seen a mob, you should be afraid. There's like if you ever. So my friend, let me try and find this. I'm not going to do it. If you know, I will do it. Give me a second. Let me just see if I can see this. No, I can't find it. There was a video on YouTube I saw a while ago. I think here it is. Yeah. No. So look, you guys can go on YouTube and like check out videos of like Iraqi mobs dragging people out of cars. If you've ever witnessed one of those mobs, guys, you know, if you've ever witnessed one of those mobs, you don't want to witness them again. And the only defense that you have is to run. Like really, really fast. Unless you're in sufficient numbers to mount a defense, which I'm going to suspect you won't be, the only real defense is to run. And you know an old, let me guys know how, look guys, for those of you guys who've seen the videos yesterday, you know, you've seen the videos yesterday of the, you know, the guys marching down the street and like the liberals saying, no need for that. We're all on the same side. Singing his words like an absolute homo. And then like the guy dressed in black says, no, we're not. No, we're not. Those guys are going to be the first victims. Those guys are going to be the first real casualties. And it's going to be like a scene from Braveheart, guys. I promise you, it's going to be like a scene from absolute Braveheart. There's going to be shit everywhere. And these liberals who've encouraged this, they're going to get cognitive dissonance. They are going to, in their little brains, they're going to be saying, oh, no, it must have been something we did. We must have offended them. And they're going to do it again. They're going to go over again and say, we just want to be your friends. Please don't hit me with the bat. We just want to be your friends. Please don't hit me with the bat. And guess what? That song ain't going to help. They're all going to be dancing around. They're going to be the first victims. Nobody will get arrested. Do you know why? No face, no case. I do like that little saying, guys. It's quite funny. They're all going to have the faces covered up. And then the hotel guys, the people who are living in the hotels, you know, why wouldn't you? Why, you know, you're here. What do you think they're watching? Like, you know, these people in the hotels, guys, what do you think they're watching on their phones or their laptops or whatever? Like, what videos do you think they're watching? Do you think they're watching nerdy videos like me, like stress fractures in steel and concrete? Probably not. What was the video that the security guard was watching? You guys remember that? Did we forget about that? Honestly, like, people have no idea what's coming. No idea. We're not, like, you're not ready. You're not ready for what's coming. And if you are ready, you're not ready enough. It just astounds me every time I see this. And like, you know, did you see David Lammy the other day? Did you see David Lammy laughing and joking? There's a certain animal he reminded me of. Not because of the color of his skin. The tiger. He reminded me of a tiger. A sharp, elegant, muscular tiger with the wit of a fox. That's what I think of when I think of David Lammy. I think of a tiger with the wit of a fox. But yeah, guys, look, we're not ready. So, like, listen, guys, I will say that what I said earlier on in the live stream. Again, I have to slope my shoulders. So Patrick Chris did a posted earlier on. He said that this migrant didn't come as a boat migrant. So he was asking the question, was he one of the 20,000 that we brought over and said, we got you, bro. We got you. We're going to look after you. It turns out that the Express are reporting that the Uxbridge stabbing suspect is Afghan migrant who arrived in the UK in the back of a lorry. That's what they're saying, guys. Right, let me jump down and get some comments. Googlino is saying US military signs non-disclosure agreement for missions in Latin America. They already have that. I don't know why they would do that. The military already have NDAs. I don't know. I think that's. I don't know why. Maybe they're just strengthening their NDAs. Insidious inflation. There is going to be some insidious inflation coming as well. He's saying, what a disgusting joke of a man Lammy is. Ponytail is saying, R.I.P. Uxbridge victims. It's insane, isn't it, guys? You know, this guy, I'm assuming he's a guy, the dog walker, 49, got out. You know, he thought, you know what? I'm gonna go and walk Bessie. He went to walk Bessie. Someone that shouldn't be here thought he'd go stabby. And look, guys, believe me, we have not in the United Kingdom, we've not even seen the beginning of this yet. The beginning's not even started. Banned again, yeah, I'm banned as well. Banned again is saying, what's the word Bandagira? Bandagira. What is? How would you say? Yakuchu. No, that's Russian. I get mixed up with my languages, guys. Hang on. And you read Bandagira. Rifle. Bandagira means rifle. Sorry, guys, I was going off a side quest. Truth Hurts audits filmed migrants in uniforms training in a Norfolk camp. I've seen this video. I'm not convinced that they are. I don't know if they are migrants. I'm not convinced they are migrants, but I've certainly seen that video. Kate is saying, how am I pronouncing that right? Kate, maybe? I don't know. It says the government is filling student accommodation with migrants in Aberdeen, and now they are planning to use the barracks in Inverness. Who's planning leaving? Yeah, nobody's planning. They're not planning leaving, guys. There's going to be a civil war. It's coming. Like, it's here. You know what I would do before I start? If I was going to invade a country, let's just say I was on the bad guy's side. And I'll never be on the bad guy's side. I'll be on the side of truth, justice, light, blue eyes, and fantastic hair. I will. I'll always be on that side, guys. I'll always be on that side. Or maybe not be on the 93 kilo side, but I'll always be on that side. So, the civil war that's coming, can you just like, if I was the bad guys, like I said, I'm not. If I was the bad guys and I was doing my manpower investment, which is what this is phase is the man. If this was a military operation, in fact, this is a military operation, you know, this would be your manpower investment. You're not really worried about tactics, or like when you're doing something called fighting in built-up areas, you need to get your troops into the buildings first. So that's your investment phase. Don't start fucking about with like going and attacking shit. You need to get your guys in there first, because if you start attacking, you're going to leave yourself thin. So you get your initial investment phase. That's when you get your men into that area. That's what's happening here. This is the investment phase. Manpower investment. So when you're doing your manpower investment, if I was doing this manpower investment, I would just keep pushing. I'd see, right, okay, I've already got the numbers I need. Let's just see how many more I can get. Because the more manpower you get in, the easier the job is going to be. But then as soon as you close the gap, as soon as you close the borders, that's when you're like, yep, off you go now, guys. That's what I would do. Why would you start the civil war with 1 million men when you can start it next year with 2 million men? It makes no sense. You would wait until that investment was full. Sean, get the new US news in Mali. AIQ is taking over. What does that? I don't even know what that means. Let me just jump on this, guys. Oh, Al Qaeda. Is that what we're talking about? Al Qaeda? Right, I'm not getting anything here. I'm getting Al Qaeda. I'm not getting anything. Can you tell me what news article I need to read that on? Band again, he's saying not civil war, it's repelling foreign invaders. Yeah, guys, you're right. I don't know what the word's going to be. There'll be a new word because it won't be a civil war. A civil war will be us versus them. What's coming to the United Kingdom and many countries around the West is, oh, hang on. And what's coming to many countries around the West is what I'm calling it as World War IV. World War III is going to be the militaries fighting. And World War IV is going to happen, is going to run in parallel, but that's going to be the civil conflicts on the streets of these countries. Right, let me get this. Okay. So from 3 hours ago, US warns citizens in Mali to leave the country immediately. Washington, Reuters, the United States has warned Americans in Mali to leave. Oh, fuck off. To leave immediately, and a paywall's just jumped up. Right, and I'm not fucking doing that. Let me find Reuters. Right. US citizens want to leave Mali immediately. United States have warned Americans in Mali on Tuesday to leave the country immediately using commercial flights as its government comes under increasing pressure from Al Qaeda-linked insurgents who are in a fuel blockade. Yeah, it's kicking off everywhere, guys. It's kicking off everywhere. The world is absolutely insane right now. I mean, I can't wait. I genuinely, guys, I've got my fingers crossed for the aliens. I really have. Oh, this is an interesting one. And Andrew Bridgen does usually get a lot of good information. So Andrew Bridgen is reporting. I like how he's sloping his shoulders, guys. I like how he's sloping his shoulders. It's not me, it's Andrew Bridgen. Andrew Bridgen is reporting. Excuse me. Oh, goodness. 500 military-aged men arriving after midnight every night at Birmingham Airport. As long as the aliens Don't have anal probes. At this point, guys, I think I'd rather have an alien probing than stabby, stabby, rammy, rammy. Yeah, Silly here has got a good comment. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this. So Silly is saying it sounds like democracy as an idea cannot survive those wars, regardless who will win. So you only get democracy if people want democracy. When the coalition went into Iraq in 2000 and what year was it? 2003. We thought that the Iraqis wanted democracy. They were for democracy. They didn't want democracy. They didn't care about democracy. They couldn't care less. We, as civilized, I'm calling this, guys, as civilized human beings, we want to be able to be in control of who's in charge. When you start importing people from other parts of the world who don't really care about democracy, they don't care who's in charge, they don't care about whether it's Trump or Biden or what's the other one, that cackling woman, or whether it's I don't even know what the Prime Minister's name is, or whether it's Farage or whoever. They don't care. All they care about is doing their own little shit. And on the macro, it's a big problem. And democracy only works if people want democracy. So now here in the United Kingdom, look at all the beautiful new arrivals we have in the United Kingdom. Lots of people, countries that don't have democracy, don't have many rights. So I would say they don't want democracy either. They just want their free stuff. They want their free money at the end of the month or whenever they get it, and do their free stuff shit. Go have swan barbecues or whatever. The rest of us, it really is, guys. I said this yesterday. It's like playing. It's like game theory. Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. Like, you get two types of games. You get one game, which I would say is Western democracy, liberal Western democracy, where you have a set of rules, clear objectives, everybody knows what a win is, and everybody knows what to do. Like game theory. And when you're thinking about computer games, that is one set of games, like, I don't know, Sonic the Hedgehog or whatever. And then the other set of games, which are still games, is like Minecraft or that Fortnite game, where you've not really got, you play whenever you want, you don't really have rules or like clear objectives, you just want for the sake of playing. And that would be obviously, some like Middle Eastern, sub-African, democracies that they're not democratic. Now, the problem is, when these guys, you can transfer this into warfare as well. When these guys who are playing by the rules come into contact with these guys will win. Because these guys are like, oh yeah, we'll play when we want. Yeah, you can't attack us, we're not playing. Yeah, we're going to attack you there. Oh, God, right, I'm done. Right. And these guys are playing by the rules, and these guys are not. These guys are just playing when they feel like it. It's kind of like, it is game theory, And like Silly's saying there, look, guys, right now I would welcome a dictator. I would welcome a good old-fashioned dictator. I think I'd be a good dictator, maybe king. I think I'd make a good dictator, king, Lord, General. That's the title I'd give myself. James is saying Klaus Schwab did look like a character straight out of Doctor Strangelove. I've not seen Doctor Strangelove, but he did look, Klaus Schwab, he still does look like he looks like a villain from a Bond game. Corey Haley saying, GB News, a prisoner using Facebook, smoking something on his phone. The prisons are a joke. I don't understand that one. GB News, a prisoner using Facebook smoke. All right, look, yeah, the prison system is a joke, guys. It really is a joke. What deterrence is there, right? You know, if you're a migrant and you're in a hotel, imagine this, guys, right? Imagine this. You're from one of these backward places in the Middle East, and all their houses are made of made of mud. You come from a mud hut in the Middle East. Let's just pretend that you come from a mud hut in the Middle East, and they say, right, come to the UK, and we'll give you 4 walls, a roof over your head, and you're now a soldier, and 3 meals a day. And when you're a soldier, once you start fighting, if you get caught, we'll still give you 4 walls, a roof over your head, and 3 meals a day. Like, where's the incentive? There's no, honestly, guys, the fucking situation's insane. Right, look, guys, I'm going to close this live stream down now. Thank you for hanging out with me as well tonight, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Listen, I am going to close this down now. I'll be back on tomorrow morning, of course. I'll be back on at 10 or, or just before. Hang on. Oh, Google it. Google Uno. I can't read anything about the Southport guy. I can't. He just triggers me so much. So listen, guys, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. If you've not done so already and you are on, can you do me a really favor? I don't say this enough, guys. Can you hit the buttons down below, the like, follow, subscribe? I don't know what they are down there, whatever those buttons are. Really helps me out when you guys do that. I'll be back on tomorrow morning, guys. I will be back on tomorrow morning before 8. Not before 8, there's not a chance. I'll be back on tomorrow morning before 10. And that's it, guys. I'm gonna close you. I'm gonna close you guys down now, and I will see you guys in the morning. And thank you so much, D Marie Gen X. He's saying, thanks, Sean. Have a good night and take care, everyone. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close you down now. I'll see you in the morning.